Welcome back. House Republicans passing their signature legislation this week, H.R. 1. It's a major campaign promise aimed at lowering the cost of energy. 4 Democrats also voted for the bill, but President Biden has vowed to veto it if it makes it past the Senate, which it won't.
H.R. 1 is dead on arrival in the Senate, not because of politics, but because it's so ridiculous and has been drawn up by a bunch of pro-oil senators of no regard for anything else. No Democrat has been consulted.
Republicans say the bill will lower energy prices and open up permitting for drilling in this country. Joining me now is former Energy Secretary and former Texas Governor Rick Perry. Governor, it's always great to see you. The president has vowed to veto this if it were to pass the Senate, which, as we said, it won't. This could really help the American people, especially at a time when energy costs are high and inflation remains at an elevated level. Your thoughts on how this is playing out?
Well, I certainly hope that the American voter in particular is paying attention to what's going on here. This is the Biden administration continually just piling on more and more pressure onto the backs of the tax-paying people of this country. This is going to cause energy prices to go up. And when energy prices go up, you know what the result is, whether it's transportation cost, the supply chain, all of the different things that add to the cost of a product or an activity is going to become more expensive. We have a recession that we're staring right in the face of. The message here is I would rather cater to the left activists, the environmental activists, than to worry about what's happened to you, American citizens. So clearly, we need fossil fuels in this country. Wind and solar are fine, too. Matter of fact, we need an all-of-the-above energy strategy, which this bill allows to occur. But, you know, John Kerry and the rest of the radical Democrats out there, they have this president held hostage. And it's, you know, to hell with the rest of the country. We're going to pay our homage to these leftists on the environmental side, and we really don't care if it costs you or not. It's an incredibly poor policy decision by the president to say, I'm going to veto this bill. Let it be debated. Let it be talked about. You know, Mr. Schumer, let your senators talk about this in public. You might find out something. You might get a little educated that the energy industry is not evil. It's a good thing. It's how Americans have flourished. As a matter of fact, globally, if you don't have American fossil fuels in the mix, you are basically telling billions of people around the world, sorry, you're just going to have to live under the consequences of which you find yourself today, and most likely you're going to die an early death.
Governor, can we probe his agenda a little bit? And as you mentioned, he's doubling down, if not tripling down, on these very extreme energy policies, pandering to the extreme left, as you suggest. Do you think this will hurt him in the next election? There's one school of thought that says he's trying to hammer this home because he's not been able to accomplish anything else, and he's actually destroyed the economy.
Yeah, I think Americans are, by and large, when you hurt them enough, you know, they got a lot of things going on in their lives. They're trying to, you know, make ends meet. They're trying to meet schedules. They're worried about keeping their job. They see all this discontent across America, whether it's, you know, on the evening news, and they're worried about it. And then this president basically gets up and says, oh, and by the way, you know, gas prices, selling out of the strategic reserve to drive down the cost of gasoline. It had very little effect, except in the long run, it's going to put Americans in jeopardy. If we have a major national emergency, a hurricane next year, and you've got the strategic petroleum reserve at the levels it is, it could be a real catastrophic event. So there's just so many things going on here, Jackie, that I think the American people are paying attention to, or they should be, because this president playing footsie, holding the hand of the radical environmentalist who, you know, they're going to vote for him regardless, I think. But he's making sure that they're going to vote for him but I don't think there's enough of them to overcome the common sense Americans out there that realize we need to have an energy policy in this country that is balanced, that is fair, that's all of the above, and that helps drive down the cost of energy. And the way to do that is through a piece of legislation like this H.R. 1 that will get America back in the energy business in a big way.
Governor Perry, can I ask you about this real quick? We've got the special envoy for climate, John Kerry, jet-setting to London and Paris this week. He's pushing Biden's green energy agenda, and this comes after saying that the U.S. needs to work with China and Russia to combat climate change. China and Russia are doing nothing to combat climate change while the American consumer is being squeezed here at home.
Yeah, I think of the word being adult. If you think that John Kerry is going to make a whit of difference relative to the Chinese or the Russians, then you're just out of your element. John Kerry is enjoying jetting around the country, being somebody, having people come and pick him up at the airport and drive him somewhere to go whisking through as a special envoy, a czar, whatever his title is, and it's hurting Americans. Yeah. And I think we see through that. And in 2024, I suspect Americans are going to turn out in droves to get rid of this administration and the Democrats that are backing them up.
Governor Rick Perry, thank you so much. Great to see you.